There is one more tool called Octopus. Okay, so there are certain number of tools available to perform the deployments. Okay, using these tools you can perform your deployment automation. So only the advantage with these tools is it will be having a systematic procedure, and you can keep track of your deployments. Okay, so keep track of your deployments as well as your environments. Okay, right, it will be easy, and rollback is easier. Okay, any version can be deployed or reproduced. Okay, so these are all the advantages of using the tools, and of course you will be having some sort of a script writing here. Okay, just like your shell scripting, but the thing is here we don't completely depend on the script writing. We will be making use of the framework script writing with framework. Okay, so we'll be having an existing framework available, so our job is to make sure write the script according to that. Okay, so most of the tools follow some sort of an architecture. Okay, and we need to set up the entire infrastructure. Okay, infrastructure, nothing but we have to set up that architecture in your environment, then you have to proceed. Okay, so the setting up the infrastructure can be done in two ways. Okay, so one is you can choose the cloud one. Okay, and another is the on-premises. I hope you might be getting a what exactly a cloud on-premises. If you remember the GitHub, I mean the Git which you have seen, right? On-premises Git we use the GitLab, and cloud one is a GitHub. Similarly, Jenkins, it's a cloud-based one. So same thing, we have these DevOps tools in the cloud as well as the on-premises. Okay, so it's up to you which one you wanted to proceed. So mostly small companies, they go for the cloud, and the big companies, they go for the on-premises. They want to host themselves. Okay, and you can find the price differences for different provisions. Okay, so if you look at all these tools, most of the tools are totally paid. Okay, except this Rundeck, guys. Okay, Rundeck is the only one among all of them is the free one. Okay, so remaining all of them are paid. But the thing is, if you look at the Chef, okay, they provide license, a kind of an evaluation license for some limitation. Okay, I'll tell you what is the limitation and all. For some limitation. Okay, so for demonstration purpose, okay, to work, to practice and all, this evaluation is enough for us. Okay, now I'm going to make use of this evaluation one. Okay, to set up the entire infrastructure. Okay, and explain the architecture, and I'm going to use the on-premises one. Okay, it is tough to set up this entire infrastructure on our PCs, because it requires minimum of 2 GB to 4 GB RAM, but setting up the chef server and all on the VM is really difficult. Sometimes we may see some odd errors. Okay, so debugging them, fixing them is really painful job. Okay, so but you better choose a standalone good server for chef server in the real time. Okay, don't install in the VMs and all. Okay, and even if you install a VM, make sure that VM is having a good amount of configurations. Okay, memory, CPU and all. Okay, so let me first explain you the architecture. Okay, and then I'll proceed with the installation. Okay, architecture first. Okay, so to explain the architecture, let me take a paintbrush. So you will be having a server by installing a chef server component. Okay, there are total 3 components in the chef infrastructure. One is the chef server. Okay, and another is the chef workstation. Okay, and another is the chef nodes. Okay, so these 3 important components which you need to remember always as part of the architecture installation consider. Okay, so you will be taking a dedicated server, and this can be Windows or Linux. Mostly we'll go for the Linux. Okay, for server part. Okay, and we'll choose a Linux server, and we'll try to set up chef server here. Okay, the server component, right? The first component, right? Now once you install that, next thing is you have to set up, okay, a workstation. chef workstation. Okay, so this is going to be a chef workstation, the second component. Okay, right? So, and the third components are going to be, this is not one component, so like multiple. So you will be having an environment. Okay, so in this environment you can choose the list of nodes. Okay, so these are going to be your actual servers, guys. Like you can call it as a app server, DB server, whatever the servers. Okay, so these are going to be your nodes. Okay, node 1, node 2, node 3, blah blah blah. So these are your actual servers where you will be hosting your containers, like that can be Tomcat, that can be JBoss, WebLogic, MySQL, whatever. Okay, and you will be installing a small component called chef client here. Okay, and the component which you install in a node called chef client. Okay, and in a workstation also you install one component called chef SDK. Okay, so these softwares you need to install it in all the servers. So in this Linux server, it's anyway dedicated for chef server. You install a chef server component. Okay, so in the chef server you will be installing a component called chef core actually. Okay, so here chef SDK, here chef client. So there are total 3 components. One is a chef server and a chef workstation, and the rest of them are the chef nodes. Okay, so now let's try to interpret the same thing for our actual deployments. Now I was talking something about the lead app application deployment, right? So what you are doing on the day, so you're just trying to take a build machine, take this build machine, you build it. Okay, and you're trying to deploy them into your servers. Am I right? This is what you did it for earlier, like using shell scripting and also. So this is going to be your machine to communicate to your servers. Okay, and the communication medium is the scripting here. So now instead of using this way, now just go back. Now what I'm going to do it, I'm going to treat my chef workstation. Okay, so this workstation as a build machine. Okay, so this is going to be just something like a build machine. Okay, so by sitting here I'll be running scripts, chef scripts, to deploy my application to this nodes. Okay, you might be thinking, then what is the point of chef server here? Actually, you know what, how this works. Whenever you run anything from the chef workstation, that will not directly connect to the node, that will first connect to your chef server. Okay, it will note down the entire metadata in the chef server. Okay, and you know what, these nodes will not talk to the chef workstation directly, they talk through your chef server. Okay, so this is what the communication medium. So ultimately the chef server is going to be a kind of a entire centralized system that will control your deployments, that will control your nodes, okay, your servers, whatever you call it as. Okay, so you will be running the commands by pointing to the chef server. Okay, and your chef server will take care of communicating with the nodes, and bypassing getting the artifacts and running the scripts and all of them. Okay, so this is what the 3-tier architecture of your entire chef components. Okay, now our job is to set up this entire stuff. Okay, so to set up this entire stuff you would need at least 3 nodes, guys. Okay, one is for chef server, one is for workstation, one is for the node. Okay, I hope if you remember the last session we did the entire deployment automation for this part. Where is my, did I close it or what? Okay, no issues. What I will do, yesterday's in the last session, right, 192.168.30.10 is for build machine, this we dedicated. Okay, and this is for, I said, for Tomcat, and this is what 11th machine. Okay, and this is 12th machine, and this is for your MySQL. Okay, now what I will do it, now this build machine I'll use it for, what do you call, workstation. Okay, right, and this Tomcat is there, right? Okay, so this Tomcat, what I will do it, I'll move this Tomcat to my 12th machine because I cannot run many machines on this single laptop, guys. Okay, so we can run Tomcat on MySQL one machine. So I'll treat it 12 as a one node, and 11 I'll make it as a chef server. Okay, now I have a chef workstation, okay, and chef server, and this I'll make it as a node, one node is enough for right now. If you want, you can create multiple nodes. Okay, so the chef license which you get it for this kind of setup, right, it supports maximum of 25 nodes. That is what the evaluation license. Okay, if you wanted to, like, set up more than 25 nodes, then you would need the license. Okay, so let's try to set up the chef server first. Okay, so always we set up the server first. Okay, so to set up the server, I need to, like, log into the 11th machine first. Okay, so let's try to log into the 11th machine. So before logging in, I want to take you to the OpsCore chef installation. So if you want, you can follow this documentation. You can see the components, actually what are all the things which you can do it. Okay, so he's expecting some sort of a, like, if you want a standalone, nothing but on-premises, guys. Okay, if you want, you can go for the cloud one as well. Okay, cloud one is pretty easy, everything he will provide it. So we need to run all these commands and all. You have to read the documentation. Okay, and you need to make sure, like, you have this configured machines. Okay, so make sure you read all of them and prepare everything. Okay, so I'm going to use the CentOS 6 machines, which we already have it. Okay, the same machines I'm going to use it for both chef server and chef workstation and the nodes. Okay, so for standalone, you can see the instructions. Here are the instructions. Okay, so if you wanted to download the chef server, you just click on this link. Okay, and which operating system you want to use? I want to use the Red Hat or CentOS, anything is same. Okay, so you can see CentOS 5, and we have a CentOS 6 as well, so better you go for CentOS 6. Okay, the same CentOS 6 one I have already downloaded. Okay, uh, this is what it was. It's around 500 MB, guys, 460 MB. Okay, chef server core 12.30 something, 12th version, actually 12.3. This is the 12.3.0. This is the version which I'm using it right now. Okay, if you want, you can take the latest also, but this was working for me when I, like, did the chef installation. Okay, I didn't try the latest one, but we can try it out. Okay, but it's not that straightforward. If you face any kind of issues, you have to troubleshoot, debug, and fix them. Okay, which is a time taking process. Actually, I don't want to, like, introduce those debugging process in the session. Okay, so you download that. Okay, you have to install. So install that, go back to the instructions. So you have to perform all this stuff, right? So instead of, like, looking at the document and seeing them, I've prepared a simplified document. Okay, so this is what the chef server installation setup document. Okay, so first and foremost, you make sure you have a machine ready. Okay, now let me try to uh, go to D drive, VG may Tomcat, right? So Tomcat one, we wanted to make it as a chef server, right? So vagrant, so make sure your Tomcat machine, I mean, what are the IP which you're chosen, and that should have at least of, like, 2 GB or 1 GB RAM. Okay, so right, we can set up in the background the RAM, so by enabling these comments. It's a 1 GB is there. Let me try to provide little more. 1.5. This is another machine, guys. I'm just trying to destroy it. Okay, so now let me uh, bring up my Tomcat, I mean, which is what your chef server now. Okay, so backend my machine is coming up. Okay, that's gone now. Let's exit. So this is going to be my chef server. So let the machine come up. And one more thing, the chef server is completely secured one. It should be accessed with the SSL protocol. Okay, so to make it work with the SSL protocol, right? We cannot have a certificates right now, SSL certificates. But to avoid that, what we can do it, we can have a host name to our machine. Okay, so generally the Vagrant instance which you get it, they won't be having any host name. It's defined with a localhost. So we need to provide a host name first. Okay, so then once you provide the host name, right, so we can access the chef server with the host name. Okay, so once the machine is up and running, I'll try to give a host name to my machine. Okay, finally this seems to be up. Okay, so Vagrant SSH, and meanwhile I want to copy that file to my machine. Okay, because I would need the installer, right, to install the chef server. So let me try to copy that SCP. What is it? Vagrant at the rate 192.168.30.11. Yes, Vagrant. So meanwhile it will copy to my machine. So I'm here now. It's copy. If you look at this, it's copying the chef server here. Okay. So meanwhile, what I will do, sudo vi etc host. Okay. Have a host name. So there is no host name here. Okay. So let's try to have a host name with an IP address 192.168.30.11. I'm giving a name called chef.mycompany.com. Okay, take this name and you have to add the same thing in etc sysinfo network file sysconfig. Yeah, here it is with a localhost, so it shouldn't be localhost. It should have a proper name. Actually, in the real time, right, these are all taken care by your Linux admin. Okay, we not worry about it. So as it is, we are setting up the Linux machine, so I'm just doing it. Yeah, once you get these things right, you just try to exit. Okay, okay, you have to do one more thing. Host name chef.mycompany. Okay, you must be a root, so just make sure you are a root. Okay, so once you added this command, okay, these are all listed here. Okay, so if you want, you can just try one more time whether you are getting host name. You are getting the host name. Okay, but to reflect the changes, you have to restart your machine. Okay, so do the Vagrant reload once. Okay, so just try to restart your machine. And just let it go on. It just need to come up. So once it is up, then we can look into the things. Let the machine boot up. So if you look at the instructions document, either you can see this is what the link to download it, okay, or you can download first and you can copy anything is fine. So yeah, you just have to run this command once it is logged in. That's it. You just have to do the RPM installation because the file which you download is RPM file. I nothing but installation guys. V nothing but verbose. H just check it out what exactly it is. Let's see. RPM hyphen I nothing but install. Okay. V H. It's RPM package manager. You can just find what are all the options are there. RPM options. Okay. RPM. Fine. So can you see? I nothing but install. V nothing but verify. Okay, not verbose, it's a verify. This is most important, whether you give V and all, but this is important generally. Okay. And what is the other one you see? Okay. Let's try to log in first. Vagrant SSH. IVH, right? What is H here? Help guys, nothing else. But I is important. Hash, not help, hash it is. Print 50 hash marks as the package RKS is unpacked. Use with -v, or you can call it a verbose. Yeah, V nothing but verbose. It will just print a nicer display there. That's it. Fine. So now I have config. I'm in my machine 3011. Okay. And now you look at this host name got changed now to chef. Okay. So host name minus f. So you got the chef.mycompany.com. Okay. So this is what you could able to set it down. Okay. Now you have the file as well. So sudo rpm -ivh. Just try to run this. Okay. Enter. It will try to extract and install it. Can you see, is it moving now? It's not stuck actually. I'm just waiting it to finish. It takes a while, so what will do it? Meanwhile, we can set up the workstation and nodes as well. These are the small components guys, okay? Workstation and all. But let's give some memory to the server because server installation is important. If that goes fine, rest of thing is pretty easy. Most of the time it gives some challenges server side. So we should be careful and give the sufficient resources to finish all the installation. Make sure you download the right installer. It's a 64-bit machine. Mine is. So, so this command is finished. We have to start now. Okay. To start, you have to run the chef server control command. Just run that command to root. Most of the time while running this command, we will see some issues. Okay. So we have to closely look into the issues and try to sort it out. Sometimes because of memory also, because it loads so many Ruby packages internally. Just expected socket error. Okay. Get address info, name or service not known. See, it's not even proceeded. Let's see what exactly this is. We didn't get this error actually in earlier installations. Chef server. Let's see what exactly this could be. Okay, 127 is a local host, meaning it is always reachable from anywhere. If you are trying to get chef server, listen only on the public interface, not localhost. I suspect. Okay, I think we have to provide VI etc post 127.0.0.1 localhost. Okay, let's try to reload this. Vagrant reload. Any other answers we have it? Not that much useful. Mostly you can find good answers in the Stack Overflow. The package just boots home chef server. The next step is to configure the chef server to start it. This runs the embedded chef server with the cookbooks. Run the OpsCoreManage suite. Okay. Okay, this is a migrant. Let's try to SSH migrant SSH. Okay, ifconfig. Fine. So sudo. Let's try to run that command again. Okay, now it seems to be going good. Starting chef client version 12.5.1. Yeah. Okay. This will actually set up, the first command, the purpose of this command is to install the chef related SDK server part, everything. Actually, this is what it is doing. The earlier command is not installed anything. It just extracted in the opt chef server. If you look at this document, this guy explained. See, the first RPM UVH is there, right? The package just puts bits on this location. It is not doing anything. But this command configures. This runs the embedded chef solo with the included cookbooks. It will do entire setup for you. Okay. So this will take a while. Chef Solo is nothing but we can just play around to practice your chef related recipes and cookbooks and all without this entire info. You might be thinking like, to work with the chef, do I need to set up all of them? Okay. Actually, if you want to practice, you don't require everything. Okay. If you just have a chef solo, that is enough. Okay. Chef solo is nothing but your machine itself will work like a node, will work like a workstation, will work like a server. That's it. Okay. So you using chef solo, you can practice the things within the machine. Okay. But in real time, that is not that useful for us. Okay. That is only for, it's for practice. So it is installing the components. Just leave this screen for a while, okay? Because if you try to disturb anything, right, setting up the again it back, it's really tough. You have to remove the entire instance, okay, and bring up a new instance. There's so much of procedure is there, okay? I would say like let's not disturb this because I've faced this n number of times in previous scenarios. Okay, so finally the installation is completed, guys. Okay, now we need to create an account now. Okay, just follow the remaining steps. So if you look at the run below command to create a user, account nothing but user. So let's try to create a user. I mean, these are all same commands. I'm just using a different names. Okay, let's say sem may may may. Okay, just try to run this command. I should give a right admin details when you're setting up a real server, chef server. Okay, this is done. Next, you need to create an organization ID and you need to map that with your user ID. Okay, so org create devops may devops training software. So you can give, typically we give the company name here. Okay, SCM, this is what your ID, you're just mapping with that. SCM, okay. Try to run this. The organization name is DevOps May. Wait for a while. The entire server setup itself will take an hour. So this is done. Okay, so once you're done with your framework, okay, so just framework will support you only to perform your commands and all. But if you are interested in the UI part, nothing but if you want to see everything in graphical user interface, especially through browser, okay, so you need to install OpsCoreManage. Manage is a UI component for your chef's server, okay. So this is what the OpsCoreManage is, okay. So we'll try general like with the YUM it should work, but actually it's not working with the YUM. So we used to download the package with this curl command, okay. That's why I'm following the second steps. So try to get the script. Okay, there seems to be some error and the command. Try this way. What is the error? There is a new line. Syntax error near unexpected token new line. Any new line here? Okay. Shift and sudo bash. Just do this. Okay, we'll download the script at least. Duplicate. Oh, 404. It seems to be like, this site is not available. Okay. Yeah, that is a problem. What can I get this? Let's try to directly install OpsCoreManage and see whether this will work or not. If it finds the OpsCoreManage, well and good. Okay, seems to be OpsCoreManage is not available here. So we have to find where can I get the OpsCoreManage. Okay, we'll search with the same error because I used to get from the script earlier. I think the site is not available at this point of time. So let's look for some alternative. Uh, One second. Am I having a manage? Yeah, I think I have a manage, guys. So this is what it is downloading. We'll do one thing. We'll try to copy this to our server and do that. Why to wait a download from internet again? Vagrant at the rate 192.168.30.11. Vagrant. Okay, I didn't look at that actually. So just download that and install it. That should be fine. Okay. Installing is simple. You just start with the RPM hyphen IVH sudo RPM hyphen IVH. Just have to do that. Open your machine and sudo RPM chef manage. Just do this. Okay. Now it is installing the manage component. I'll try to update the document. So download the ChefManage RPM and install it with RPM hyphen sudo RPM hyphen IVH dot RPM. So do this. So this is not required. Once it is done. Okay. So once that is done, you just have to run the manage CTL reconfigure. This will be a little faster the management. It's not something like the core part of your chef server. Done. Okay, you just start to run this reconfigure command. Okay, just do that. Let's try to complete at least chef server. So give me another 5 minutes. We'll be done almost. Okay, so it's finished. Now, once this is finished, oops, is it finished or? Okay, reconfigure is done. Cool. So now once this is done, you just have to cross check whether you could able to access this URL from your browser or not. If you could able to access, then you have successfully set up your server. Okay, so you cannot access at this point of time because chef.mycompany.com is not in your DNS. Okay, so try to open a notepad with an administrator. So right click, run as administrator. You have to open the etc. Just look at this location, this is important. Try to open a file in your Windows machine. User is accessing, okay, but in the real world it's a real host name. Your network team will set up the DNS, okay, as it is just like our own machine. Windows system 32 driver, sorry, drivers, where is it, drivers etc. You can find a file, just say all files, which is a host file. Okay, in this host file, what you're supposed to do it, you have to mention 192.168.30.11 with chef.mycompany.com. If you enter this, then you should be able to access this URL. It will hit that URL now. Okay. Yes. Okay. As we don't have any certificates, okay, we just say proceed with this unsafe mode. That should be fine. Proceed. Yes, this is what the link which you see it, and here you have to log in with your SCMA and SCM123, the account you created, right, with that account. Okay. Now this is what your UI component, which is which set up with your manage, okay, or chef manage. So it doesn't have anything actually. Okay, it's just a UI is available. Now what we need to do it now, you look at architecture part. We are done with the server part now. Okay, we have to set up the workstation now first. Okay, because we will be working from workstation only. On chef server you don't come again back. That's it. Installation is done. You forget about that. Okay. Now you come back to the workstation and start setting up your workstation. So this I'll continue it in tomorrow's session, guys, and tomorrow we'll start working with the introduction about the chef concepts and all.